Police confirm identity of a 101st victim of huge Maui wildfire. Lawmakers honor House clerk who served during chaos of January 6th, and McCarthy speaker votes. New York City schools went online instead of calling a snow day. Today is Wednesday, February 14th, 2024, and this is the Dunkley Report. The death toll from the wildfire that destroyed the historic town of Lahaina, Hawaii, has climbed to 101 after Maui police confirmed the identity of one new victim, a 76-year-old man. Maui police found Paul Kasprzycki's remains off a side street in an industrial area. Police identified him by comparing X-rays taken before and after his death. A new cold case unit Maui police formed after the fire made the identification. There are now 2 people missing from the August 8 blaze. 2/3 of those killed in the deadliest U.S. wildfire in more than a century were in their 60s or older. Lawmakers have honored the official charged with maintaining order in the House during 2 of the chamber's most tumultuous moments: the January 6, 2021, attack on the Capitol, and last year's longest race for House Speaker since before the Civil War. Cheryl Johnson, the 36th House Clerk, was presented with the 2023 Freedom Award from the United States Capitol Historical Society. The awards honors those who exhibit extraordinary dedication to freedom, democracy, and representative government. Leading the ceremony were the 2 former House Speakers who benefited most from her work as the House's lead administrator: Democratic Representative Nancy Pelosi and former Republican Rep. Kevin McCarthy. 4 years after the coronavirus pandemic first sent students and teachers into online learning, some school systems in the U.S. are returning to the method during inclement winter weather. They're doing so in place of scheduling old-fashioned snow days. As a major winter storm hit the Northeast on Tuesday, New York City attempted for the first time since the pandemic to return to remote learning. But the nation's largest school system got waylaid by technology glitches. School systems in Boston and Hartford, Connecticut, among many others, took a different tack and simply closed for the day. A driver car crashed into a Texas hospital's emergency room, killing the driver and injuring 5 others, including a child with life-threatening injuries. The car smashed into the lobby of the ER at St. David's North Austin Medical Center shortly after 5:30 p.m. Tuesday, Austin Travis County Emergency Medical Services officials said at a news briefing. Police said the crash appeared to be unintentional. St. David's North Austin Medical Center, which has a 24-hour emergency department, is described on its website as a 441-bed acute care facility that handles maternity and newborn care, other women's health services, and many other specialties, including heart and brain surgeries and robotic surgery. A stingray that has lived for years in a North Carolina aquarium without a male companion is pregnant. The animal is named Charlotte and is expected to give birth in the next 2 weeks. Brenda Raymer is executive director of the Aquarium and Shark Lab in the Blue Ridge mountain town of Hendersonville. She says Charlotte has experienced parthenogenesis. That's a type of asexual reproduction in which offspring develop from unfertilized eggs. The mostly rare phenomenon can occur in various animals, although it doesn't happen in mammals. Recent examples have included California condors, Komodo dragons, and yellow-bellied water snakes. New Orleans is bidding a typically joyous farewell to carnival season with Mardi Gras parades and street parties. Tuesday brings a massive outdoor costume festival to the bars and restaurants in the French Quarter. Revelers in capes, wigs, spandex, and feathers danced in front of St. Louis Cathedral at Jackson Square while Latin music blared. Not far away, tourists and locals roamed Bourbon and Royal streets with costumes that varied from the scanty and suggestive to the fanciful. Mardi Gras, or Fat Tuesday, is the final day of festivities before Ash Wednesday and the solemnity of Lent. The White House has announced that Palestinians living in the U.S. will be shielded from deportation as the Israel-Hamas war continues, citing significantly deteriorated conditions on the ground in Gaza. Palestinians will be covered under what's known as deferred enforced departure, an authority used at a president's discretion. The directive, signed Wednesday by President Joe Biden, effectively allows Palestinian immigrants who would otherwise have to leave the United States to stay without the threat of deportation. That protection will last 18 months. Biden said in a memo accompanying the announcement, "While I remain focused on improving the humanitarian situation, many civilians remain in danger." Democratic California. Governor Gavin Newsom is urging voters to approve a ballot initiative that he says is needed to tackle the state's homelessness crisis. Mental health advocates say the change would threaten the programs that keep people from becoming homeless and could result in more coerced treatment. Counties have used money from a 2004 voter-approved tax imposed on millionaires to fund mental health services as they see fit under broad guidelines. The proposition would require counties to spend 60% of those funds on housing and addiction treatment. It also would authorize the state to borrow $638 billion to build a total of 11,000 housing units and treatment beds. The U.S. has imposed sanctions on 3 people and 4 firms across Iran, the United Arab Emirates, and Turkey for allegedly helping to export goods and technology purchased from U.S. companies to Iran and the nation's central bank. Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control said on Wednesday the procurement network transferred U.S. technology for use by Iran's central bank in violation of U.S. export restrictions and sanctions. Some of the materials acquired by the Central Bank of Iran were items classified as information security, items subject to national security and anti-terrorism controls. By the Commerce Department, Treasury says. 3 police officers were shot in Washington during an attempted animal cruelty arrest that touched off an hour-long standoff Wednesday. It isn't immediately clear whether the gunman was the subject of the arrest warrant. The Metropolitan Police Department says the officers suffered injuries to their hands and feet. The shooter remains barricaded inside a home hours after opening fire on police. Several roads in the area are closed, and schools are locked down in the nation's capital. The incident comes as the District of Columbia is struggling with a sharp rise in violent crime, which went up 39% in 2023. The increase was largely fueled by a rise in homicides and carjackings. Today's news was reported by the Associated Press. This has been the International News for Wednesday, February 14th, 2024. Thanks again for joining us here at the Dunkley Report.